Hi everyone, it's Houston with Air, and this is the ARP 2600 behind me, the legendary analog semi-modular synth from the 1970s. And this is the brand new TimewARP 2600 version 2 from Air. This instrument plugin brings back all of the incredible features and sounds from the original 2600, along with several new features included as well. I want to give you a quick 5-minute overview on creating a bass patch on the TimewARP 2600, and along the way, give you an idea of the workflow, signal path, and ultimately some examples of the legendary and classic ARP style sounds you can get from this plugin instrument. Let's get to it. The TimewARP 2600 offers 4 different GUI panel colors. I'm going to choose the gray meanie, although that blue Marvin is pretty tempting. The TimewARP 2600 also offers plenty of bass presets, many of them custom creations by a very talented group of sound designers, many of them longtime ARP 2600 users. But I'm going to go up and select the reset button and start from scratch. The first thing we want to do is turn up our VCO1 slider in our VCF section. Then I'll go to the AR section and just make sure our attack and release are up. This opens up the gate to pass the audio. Now I'll go to the VCA section and turn up my VCF slider, my ADSR slider, and my AR slider, continuing to pass that signal into the mixer section, where I'll turn up the VCA slider. And if I bring up the initial frequency filter, I start to hear that classic square wave. I'll bring down the release just a bit since we're working on a bass patch, tighten up that attack. And since we're creating a bass sound, let's drop it down a couple of octaves. Now I'll work with the filter frequency slider a bit. Give it some shape. You can see with some resonance, it's starting to get a sound that I like. The next thing I want to do is change this sound that we're hearing from initial square into a saw. So I'm going to patch from VCO1 patch point in the VCF to the patch point saw in VCO3. Let's drop that a couple of octaves as well. There we go. That's starting to take shape. Now I'm going to bring up VCO2 in the VCF section, start to get a balance. And as I open that up, you can start to hear that it's definitely taking shape, starting to get that chunkier, tighter sound that I'm looking for. Let's do this. Let's take the VCO2 patch point from the VCF section and patch that directly into the pulse patch point in VCO2. And this gives us some really nice sounding pulse width modulation by adjusting the slider here. Let's go back to the VCF section and bring up the VCO3 slider. And take a patch point from VCO3 and patch that directly into the square patch point on VCO1. I'll bring VCO1 up an octave. Work a little bit more with the filter frequency. So it's got that grit that I'm looking for. But let's drop VCO2 down a couple of octaves. There we go. Now it's got that funky bass sound I'm looking for. Let's work with the ADSR. Tighten it up just a bit, bring that decay down, tighten up that attack. Now I want to increase the CV level of VCO2 on the VCF and the CV for ADSR on the VCF as well. Now we're really taking shape. I love it. That sounds great. Something else I want to do is I want to create a little bit of an attack to the pitch. So I'll adjust the ADSR on VCO2 along with the VCO1 slider. Now let's move over to VCO1, add a little bit of ADSR there as well. And we've got our funky bass patch ready to go in the TimewARP 2600. And that's a look at the TimewARP 2600 from Air. Stay tuned for more walkthrough videos on patch creation and additional features that started on this legendary synth and are now part of this amazing 2600 plugin instrument. You can grab your own TimewARP 2600 plugin instrument right now at airmusictech.com. I'm Houston for Air. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.